Okay, is anybody still there? I hope so. We're so sorry. This hasn't happened only one time before. So, I'm so sorry. So, is anybody still here? Okay, great.
They're saying hello.
Okay, thank you. If we go to the iPad, it actually doesn't work that well with the iPad. So we need to just stick with our phones. But I need to get a phone just for the Food Nanny Lives, and we're working on that too. So, talking about our kamut is an ancient grain, and it has more protein than the average wheat, say red winter wheat. It has 30% more protein in the white, and then if you have the whole grain, like I do over here, the whole grain kamut, that's 40 more percent. Anyway, we'll talk more about that later, but that's all I'm using, and it's all I've been using for over 3 years now. So I think you'll all want to look into it. It's so delicious, and it just takes everything that you bake and cook over the top. It's expensive, and the reason why is it gets half the yield that the normal wheat gets. It comes from it's pure because it comes from this pure line of grain that a farmer got from way over in the Khorasan Valley, over in the Middle Eastern area. So long story short, it costs more money, quite a bit more, but the reason is because it gets only half the yield that the regular wheat gets. And it takes farmers about 6 years to get up and running to be able to really get good yield and get it growing. That's why it's more expensive. But Italy is using kamut in their country. They're buying 70% of most of the kamut that is sent to Europe. So anyway, we have our salt and our 2.5 cups of white kamut. Now we're going to add our shortening. And let me tell you, it's 3/4 cup of shortening. And let me tell you a little bit about shortening. It is trans fat, and it's solid. And so the people are telling us nowadays that it's just bad for us, and that we should use an oil in place of shortening. But the shortening gives it so much flakiness and makes our pie tender. And in our baking, it actually makes our baking, whatever we use it in, a cookie, if a cookie happens to call for it, it's sort of old school. It's something that my mom and my grandma used to fry everything in and used to make all of their pies with. Well, my one grandma made her pies only with lard. A lot of people are using lard because they're saying that it's more real than even like Crisco shortening, but it goes through a hydrogenated process, and so they're saying that it's just not that good for you. But I'm really careful about all the products that I use, and I feel like I don't make pie every day, and I hardly ever use it, and I feel like this is the pie recipe that I've had for years and years, over 40 years, and I really don't want to change it. I have experimented with all butter, and I just believe that the Crisco is there for tenderness and flakiness, and the butter is there for flavor. Now you can use lard, or you can experiment and use regular oil that's not solid, that's runny. You can do that. But we don't eat that many pies, and I don't think it's that horrible for us. If we were eating it every day, yes, but not on occasion. So we have our Crisco oil, and we're going to use our pastry blender, okay, to sort of work it in just a little bit. And then we're going to I just got our 1/4 of a cup of butter out of the fridge because it needs to be cold. So we'll take our knife and we'll just sort of put our butter in like this. We've already added our flour and our salt and our shortening. Now we're just going to add our butter. And we're going to use the pastry blender, and if you don't have one, just get 2 forks. And you can accomplish the same thing. So we're going to work, and we're using our copper bowls that we love from Costco. This happens to be the medium-sized bowl, and I love it for making pie dough. It's perfect. You can get a good feel on what you're doing. So we're using our pastry blender here to get it sort of the size of peas. Work the butter. We have to work quickly because we want our butter to stay cold. Because then when we bake our pie dough, the butter disperses really nicely and gives it a great texture, flavor, everything. But I love using Crisco and butter. And I have to tell you that many of the greatest chefs in the whole world still use that combination as well. So you decide for yourself. Now the recipe calls for 1/4 cup of water to 3/4 cup. And it has to be iced down, just like this, with plenty of ice cubes in it being iced down. Now we're going to add the water 1/4 cup at a time, and we stir it. Just like bread, depending on where you live, the moistness in the air, the type of flour you're using will depend on how much ice cold water you're going to need. Okay? I can see now white kamut is going to automatically be thicker and more substantial than any kind of white flour. So I can see that I'm going to need probably all or most of the water. So once I can see that that's still a little bit dry, once we get it where it's kind of coming together with the fork and sort of leaving the sides of the bowl and coming together, let's get our hands in there now and see if we're able to bring it together. We don't ever want our pie dough too sticky. I'm going to add just a hair more. We don't ever want our pie dough too sticky, because then it won't be good. It won't be flaky. So you saw how it was coming away from the sides of the bowl, and now you see how easy it is for me to bring this together like this. It's still a little bit, it's not by any means soaked. By any means is it not soaked. It's just barely moist. You can sort of see this. This is perfect consistency, okay? If you're using regular white flour, you'll never need this much water. I'm so grateful I wrote the recipe like this a long time ago because I didn't know I was going to be using kamut flour. Okay, so this dough is enough to make a double crust pie, all right? But what we want to do is cut it in half. We won't do it exactly in half. We'll put a little more on the bottom crust side. And then we'll move this over here. Now this is going to be for the top crust. And I'm going to show you, can you still see the butter in there? And I'm going to show you what I like to do. I like to flatten it out with the palm of my hand, just like this. And this is the way, if I were going to freeze this dough, this is exactly what I would do. And I would wrap it in plastic wrap or saran wrap or anything. But I would flatten it out, and then I would wrap it and I would freeze it exactly like this. Or I would put it in the fridge and it would last a couple of days in the fridge. When you put it in the freezer, don't let it stay there for more than 2 months. And don't forget about it. That's the main thing, what we don't want to do when we freeze things. We want to remember that they're there, so we'll use them. And we just don't, you know, the freezer can sometimes be a black hole, so we don't want that. So this is perfect to freeze or to put in the refrigerator right now and use later. And actually, I would put that in the refrigerator until I was ready to put on my top crust. Okay? So now, here's our bottom crust.
Someone says they've started putting notes on their freezer door.
Oh, that's perfect. And what I try to do is make notes to tell me what's in my freezer. So when I put something in, I make a note and I'll say 1 pie crust or whatever. So that's sort of the same thing. That's what I've been doing.
And someone's saying hello from across the pond.
Oh my goodness, where? From where? Could that be Melanie from London? I know Melanie's in London and she's having a great experience over there. She's a girl that used to live here, a really dear friend.
England.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's probably Melanie. But we do have more and more followers that are following us from all over. And we're so excited. We have from Australia, Canada, Brazil. Oh my goodness, we're getting so many. Okay, now we're going to carefully put a little bit of flour down and make sure that there's flour on our French rolling pin as well. And this is the rolling pin that we recommend to everyone. So we sort of move the pie about a third of the way, and we're trying to form a circle. Okay?
Oh, and someone's saying hello from Ghana, West Africa.
What? Ghana, my goodness, hello. Oh, that's so exciting. Can you get all the ingredients over there that we can get here? I've never been to Ghana. I've actually been to Africa, but not Ghana. That is so exciting. Okay, so we're forming a pie dough. Now we're going to turn it just a little bit. Can you see if it comes apart a little? We'll just sort of help it. Now, we're getting close to possibly the size that we need. Now, this is the pie dish that we're going to use today. So I would put it just like that and see that we're just about there. So that's how we measure our pie dough. We can actually try to turn it a little bit more, but it doesn't seem like it wants to turn very well right now. Okay, so we're just about there. Now we'll take our rolling pin here and we're just going to roll it up just like that. And then we'll put our pie plate here, and then we will undo and then adjust. So this is going to be perfect. So we'll sort of adjust, and if there's ever a little hole, we'll work with that.
Someone's asking where your dish is from, your pie dish.
This is actually an Emily Henry. I've had it probably 20 years, and I love it. My other one that I used last night to make the quiche in, I love this one. It's a little white French one. I was trying to actually look at the name of that one. I just dropped the pie spatula. Anyway, so now we have, this is an Emily Henry, but it's really nice. Now because we're making only one crust for the quiche, only a bottom crust for the quiche, we will need to flute it right now. Now, if we were going to put our filling in here and bake the pie, then we would wait to flute the edges, okay? If we would fill it, but we're making a quiche and we're filling it with a quiche filling. So we'll go ahead and we'll flute the edges right now, just like this. And this is the way I've been doing it my whole life. My mother taught me this way. My grandmother taught me this way. She was actually an expert pie baker, my grandmother, and she's the one that used the lard. And my mom actually stopped using lard, and I don't know why, because lard makes super good pies too. So I don't know, we just started using the shortening. I think my mom thought shortening was better than lard, and actually nowadays people are using lard because they think it's better than shortening. And other people are using, like I said, the vegetable oil, the liquid kind. Okay, so basically...
Someone's asking, will you need to partially bake the crust first?
No, not on my quiche, not on my recipe. There might be a recipe. Now we want to go over it a second time because we want it to stand up. Beautiful. So we want to give it a good indentation. So if we go over it twice, we have a better chance of it standing up. Now, yes, it could shrink a little, but hopefully not too much. Then we'll take our knife and we'll do this. We'll cut off the excess. And then what we would do is we would add, so we have a beautiful pie crust. That was simple, wasn't it? It's as easy as pie. That's what they say. It's as easy as pie. And you know how Lizzie's teaching you all the time how to make our breads and our pizza dough. It's basically the same, using a lot of the same rolls, and I think you've seen that. So our pie crust is ready. Now we're going to go over and I'll show you the quiche filling, which I have all ready for you. So the quiche filling has been over here, and oh my goodness, my kitchen smells so delicious with the bacon. Of course, we get the bacon from our neighbors. Some of the little kids down the street, they raise pigs, and so we buy a pig from them, and we have it fixed, and packaged, and we get to enjoy that meat, and we get to help our darling little neighbors who raise them. So our bacon is extra good. So we have bacon, and we have a green pepper and a whole onion, and all we've done is we've just browned this until soft. I like to get it super done myself. I just love how the flavors come together like that. And then we've already scalded 1.5 cups of our milk. And then what we're going to do, since it was done a minute ago, we're going to add our 1/2 pound of cheese, which is basically about 1 cup of cheddar cheese. And then we'll add a teaspoon of fleur de sel, our French salt, and a teaspoon of Worcestershire. And we'll add 3 beaten eggs to the scalded milk.
Someone's asking, how do you scald the milk?
You just heat it until it gets a skin on top of it. You'll see, you'll be able to touch it and a little skin will come up. And then we'll add some of our fresh ground black pepper. And as soon as the cheese has melted, then we're going to bring that over in just a second.
Do you heat it on low?
The milk?
Yeah.
Heat it on medium, low to medium to scald it. So let's go over and put this in our pie crust, just like this.
And everyone loved watching you flute the pie crust.
Good. So we'll just put this on the bottom. So delicious. It's so good. And then as soon as the cheese is melted, which it basically is right here. The cheese is melted in the eggs.
What milk do you use?
I use 1%, but I know a lot of people like the 2%. Some people even use whole, but that's just what I got used to is 1%. So then we pour this mixture on top. So it doesn't completely fill up the Emily Henry pan like it does my little French pan. So the little French pan is probably more beautiful, but I still love the Emily Henry. Now we're going to put this straight.
Can you use half and half instead of milk?
You could, but I don't think you need to add the calories because we've already got the pie crust and it's so delicious with just the milk. You just don't need it. It would just be too rich. So we'll go and we'll put it in the oven just like this.
Someone's so excited. They just got their cookbooks
from
that's Carol.
Wonderful. And we'll bake it for 30 minutes. And it's perfectly done in 30 minutes. So I wanted to show you what I would serve with this quiche. I have a little bit of red lettuce. I actually took it out a minute ago. So how I love to prepare my lettuce if I'm doing it fresh and not bought in a package or one of those containers, I like to wash it really well, and then I like to spin it in my salad spinner. It makes it so dry and so crisp and so perfect. I took it out a minute ago, but you can see how beautiful and tender, but just, it's perfect lettuce. And I love using the salad crisper. And then what I wanted to do was cut up a little bit of, well, I'll do the tomato first, because this is actually a tomato knife, and I can use it for the cheese too. But I wanted to show you these tomatoes I always have on hand. Always, because they're so good you can eat them like almost candy during the day. If you get hungry or something, eat a tomato. This is actually a fruit. It's actually not a vegetable. It's actually a fruit. But I love the great tomatoes, and I love the heirloom quality as well.
Someone's asking, do you have a favorite spinner, salad spinner?
The one I have, I can show it to you. It's very inexpensive, and actually, I'm glad you asked that question because it is my favorite. I used to have a more expensive one that, I kind of turned with a big fancy turner, and I love this one, and I'll show it to you in just a second. It's very inexpensive.
And do you cut your lettuce or tear it with your hands?
I just tore this with my hands. It's fine to cut it on occasion as well, but this I just tore. And then I'm just cutting some fresh mozzarella cheese. And this is what I would serve with a little bit of olive oil on top, just like this. A little more than that, but I'm not going to drench it so I don't waste it, because I'll eat it later. And then our favorite, balsamic in the whole world. This is the only balsamic I use. And it's Napa Valley cherry wood aged balsamic. And I get this at Whole Foods. It is wonderful. It's all we all use. We even use it in our Thai chicken pizza. It is perfect. And then go over with a little balsamic. Oh, this one's amazing. And so there's a little salad. Just a fast salad to go with your quiche. Like I said before, if I was doing Easter for just my husband and I, this is the meal I would be cooking. So, are there any questions on our pie dough or our flour or anything? Let me show you my spinner.
Is the balsamic in the refrigerator section?
No, it's right next to the olive oil. So this is my salad spinner that I use. It's very inexpensive and so easy to wash and keep up. It's so fast. You just put your salad in here and then turn like this, and then check it periodically and see if the water has, built up. Pour the water out and then keep spinning until it's dry. And then this is the way I store it.
Do you know where you got the spinner from?
I actually got it in Europe. But Lizzie might be able to find it online and swipe up for it, so we'll have her check it out. But I did actually grab this one in Europe because when I was living over there, I didn't take a salad spinner. And one day I was in the little grocery store and they had these, and I thought, I think I like these better than my fancy one. So I actually brought it from Europe, and it's all I use. So this is how I'm storing my lettuce. I'll just put it, these are actually my bread bags. I use them for so many things. And I'm actually storing my lettuce like this. And then I like the little clips from IKEA. I love those clips. I use them for everything. And then just keep it in the refrigerator. This will last over a week. When you have washed it and spinned it dry and put it in plastic, it will keep beautifully for over a week. Any kind of greens. It's perfect. I was wondering there was something else I was going to talk to you about today, but I think I'll save it for another time.
Someone wants to know where you buy the kamut.
Yes, so go to Montana Montana Grains and Flour. This is where you buy the kamut. And we're going to also be having it available on the Food Nanny Instagram. And we're working on the packaging right now. We're going to bring it to you and have it available to you, because America is well fed, but not nutritionally fed. Not super nutritionally fed, and that's what I want to help with. I want, in all the recipes that we're making together and in all the cooking we're doing together, I want to show you some of the best products that are out there, and best tasting and best for you. And white kamut flour is amazing. It's so nutritionally sound. Someday we'll talk just about the white kamut, and I'll tell you, and the whole grain kamut, and I'll tell you all the nutritional facts about it. That's a whole nother live, and we'll go through that soon. But it's something that you'll want to use, and you'll try it, experiment with it, and see if you believe what I'm saying. Like I say, I've been using it for 3 years, and that's all I've eaten. And it's just like our salt. It's amazing.
Where do you buy the bread bags?
It's changed my life. So you can get the bread bags at a Bosch store, or Orson Gigi has them as well. And that's the only place I have found those bread bags, those two stores. So, no more questions?
Someone's asking about your lamb roast, I think. Are there any tips for cooking that?
For the lamb.
I think so.
Everything is perfectly explained in that recipe, and I actually just ate that lamb. When I went to my sister's house, Jan, she surprised me with that lamb meal. She knew that we weren't doing lamb this year for Easter because we were showing you our ham sliders. Don't forget to go online and check out our Easter menu that we have prepared for you this year, and we've shown it to you a few weeks ago. It's our ham sliders, and our kids crave mac and cheese, and our deviled eggs, and our baked beans and fruit, and then our amazing coconut cake. So all of that is there for you on the Food Nanny website. And then now this quiche. But that lamb, that leg of lamb in my second book is amazing. And I just got to eat it because Jan made it for me. It was so beautiful. I should send you a picture of it. But thanks everybody for following us. We love it. We love helping you. And Lizzie will be on tomorrow. She'll be doing a live on our 3-cheese pizza. And for those of you that are new, she'll show you how to make pizza dough again. Something else. I hope you all got to see the video that I did with Hunter. I went to his house, and I'd heard through the grapevine that little Hunter, who's 13 years old, was making our pizza. And I hope a lot of you got to see that on our Instagram. It's probably gone now, but we're going to post it to Facebook as well, and hopefully YouTube. But Hunter was amazing, and it was so much fun to go to his home. He wanted to make that pizza so badly because he knew his dad would be starving. He's actually a dentist, and he knew he would be starving for something to eat later on that night. And his mom was gone, and people were out of town. He was the only one home, so he actually went home, did that pizza, took that pizza on his bike, on his back, rode the bike and the pizza to the dental office, and went in and surprised his dad. And when we showed you on that video yesterday, his dad was basically depicting exactly what he did the first time Hunter brought him that pizza. He said, "What is this?" It was really fun, and what a great boy Hunter is. So I hope you all got to enjoy that and love that video as much as I did. I was so touched by that story, and I understand that there's more young people making that pizza as well. So we might do more of those videos down the road. Anyway, thanks everybody, and have a great day. Lizzie will be with you tomorrow for a live at 10 o'clock. So see y'all then.